What is up, everybody? All right, we got 10 more cards, so without further ado, let's get into the reviews. All right, first up, we have Chenvaala. So honestly, I think this card's pretty good. It's a legendary. I think it's pretty good, even splashed in most mage decks. I think in Tempo Mage, this could probably be a real threat. You got cards like Arcane Missiles, Mirror Image, Magic Trick, you know, all the typical cheap mage spells that could combo pretty well with it. It's also, the stats are pretty bonkers. You have a 3-drop, 2/5, basically a 4 drops worth of stats. So I do think this is going to get a 4 out of 5. I think it's definitely going to be played in Tempo Mage, and I'm curious to see how it works out. All right, finally, I am souped for this Galakrond. This is by far the best Galakrond release so far, which honestly makes me a little bit more excited for the rest of the Galakronds. But we have Galakrond the Unspeakable. This is definitely getting a 5 out of 5. This is by far the best Galakrond release so far. It's you're just destroying minions all game. Every time you invoke this puppy, it's going to get 1 minion killed, then 2, and then 4. So you're basically going to be able to control the field the entire game using this card. The only downside right now is the fact that there's not a whole lot of invoke cards, especially for priest. You really only have Time Rip and then the neutral card Shield of Galakrond. So there's not a whole lot of support, but I do imagine by the end of the set they're going to release a lot more invoke cards. So just give it a little bit of time. I think the invoke category will get a little boost in strength, and we should be good. So this is definitely getting a 5 out of 5. Guys, if you're on the 4th part of all of these reviews, this is part 4. This is the 4th review video for Descent of Dragons, and you still have not subscribed below or liked the video, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hit the sub button. Hit the like button. Let's go. So next up, to separate between the next Galakrond that I'm going to review, is Fiendish Rites. So it's actually one of the invoke cards for the Warlock class. I'm not really excited about the Warlock Galakrond at all. It doesn't look to be that great. It seems like they're trying to push Demon Warlock a little bit, and since I've played Hearthstone, Demon Warlock has not really been that good. I don't know, it's not really worth the 3 mana, obviously. The other thing is this can't really be splashed in other decks. So even if you're playing like a Zoo deck, obviously +1 attack across the field would be good, but for 3 cost, you know, that now you're having to splash the Galakrond into a Zoo deck to actually get full use out of this card. And like I said, I don't think that Galakrond is really that great, so I don't see this being played much. Gonna give it a 2 out of 5 for now. Alright, so here's the other Galakrond. So again, this basically, you're either summoning 1 random demon, summoning 2 random demons, or summoning 4 random demons. And I'm sorry, I just don't think that's that great. It's just, demons have not really ever worked out. It looks like they're trying to do some sort of pseudo mix between demons and Zoo, like, you know, like swarming the field with demons or something like that. The only demon deck I've ever really tried to push was, you know, a weird portal demon deck with basically using plot twist. So I just don't see this being played. I don't see it being a good Galakrond whatsoever. Gets a 2 out of 5. So with that said, we also have the 2 Warlock Invoke cards here. So first one's going to be Dragonblight Cultist. Again, I don't see this being that good. This is going to get a 1 out of 5. It invokes Galakrond, and it gets +1 attack for every other minion that you have on the field, and its base stats are 1/1. You know, taking the invoke out of the consideration, it's just bad as is. I mean, generally speaking, you're going to have 2 to 3 minions out there. So it's either going to be a 3/1 or a 4/1 for 3 cost, which, I mean, the stats are in line with the cost, kind of, but that's not, 1 health is terrible. I think actually, what is there, Magma Rager? That's a 5/1 for 3 cost, so I don't think this card is great at all, and even if Galakrond is going to be a playable deck, I don't really think people are going to want to play this to invoke him, so it's going to get a 1 out of 5. Alright, next up, we actually have a pretty good, I'm not going to lie, it's a pretty good Warlock card. Veiled Worshipper. So it's great stats, 4 cost, 5/4. It doesn't actually invoke Galakrond. It's just if you've invoked him. But if you have invoked him twice, you draw 3 cards, which is a pretty insane effect. Again, this So that plot twist deck that I mentioned that I've personally played with, and I'm sure other people has made as well. Again, it's just basically plot twist with the portal demons and summon a lot of 2/2 demons to the board. This might be good to splash with that, to draw more cards to get into your hand, to dig for the portal demons, to use plot twist a little bit faster. So that might be splashable. Who knows? But overall, again, I don't think that Galakrond itself is that playable or that great. So for now, this is going to get a 3 out of 5, and that's really just because the base stats are pretty good and the battle cry is pretty insane if you have invoked Galakrond twice. This would get a 5 out of 5 if this was a priest card. If this was like in priest Galakrond, this would get 5 out of 5, no doubt. What? Alright, this makes me so souped for this next set. God, I can't wait till this releases and I can just start playing with these cards. Breath of Dreams. This by far gets a 5 out of 5. We have Wild Growth essentially back, but you also draw a card. So this is basically a stronger version of the old Wild Growth. RIP Wild Growth, ever since they changed the cost. It's reliant on you drawing dragons. So they've only revealed, I think, 2 dragons for Druid so far, so I don't really know what type of dragon strategy there's going to be other than ramp dragon. So I'm curious to see what else fleshes out, but there's a lot of neutral dragons that you can play as well. And honestly, this card alone might be worth playing a ramp dragon deck for Druid. So very, very excited to see this in action and see what it does. 5 out of 5. Okay, all right, we got two 5 out of 5s in a row. This I am equally as excited for. All right, Rogue right now is looking to be the most fun deck out of everything so far, with the exception of Paladin because of that dragon that gives you 10 mana instantly. So very, very excited to see Umbral Skulker in here. Does anybody remember Counterfeit Coin or Tomb Pillager? Do those ring a bell at all? This is like those on steroids. This is insane, all right? And the Galakrond for Rogue is great, okay? It's sprint on steroids, and we reviewed that in another video. So being that Galakrond is amazing. It's like sprint. Being this, it revolves around invoking, and it's also coin, OTK related. So totally see this being played with some sort of OTK with Gadgetan or something like that, Gadgetan Auctioneer. That also synergizes well with the actual Galakrond in that the Galakrond is drawing cards. So I don't know what's going to come of this deck. I don't know what the rest of the set is going to look like, but I always loved every meta that had some sort of Miracle Rogue, OTK Rogue deck. I personally like those decks, so I think that's what's going to pop back up because of this, and I'm excited to see it. 5 out of 5. And to follow with the Rogue strategy, we got Praise Galakrond. So again, this is a great card. This is Rogue, I think, got the best part of the Galakrond train, because this is great for aggro. You basically get a free +1 attack, draw a card. Not only that, because of Galakrond's effect, you're going to get 1 card at 0 cost. So if you draw anything that's like 3 cost or above, you're going to get insane advantage over your opponent and start snowballing the game. And when you're playing this in a tempo deck, you get a 0 cost, SI agent, or a 0 cost Edwin, or really just a 0 cost anything in that deck, you're going to get an insane card that your opponent's going to have a very hard time dealing with. So 5 out of 5. Also cannot wait to play Tempo Rogue. Rogue just got a hell of a boost with this set. All right, and last but not least, we have another Rogue card called Seal Fate. And this is not as good as the other ones, but it's still decent. It does get a 4 out of 5. It's 3 damage to an undamaged character. I think this is going to be another great card to add to any of the Galakrond decks. Depending on how many invoke cards are released for Galakrond, it's probably going to be an auto-include just for the sake of upgrading Galakrond's effect. And that's kind of the kicker with Galakrond. I mean, his effect can be really good if you actually do get to that point where you're upgrading it at least once, and obviously, hopefully twice. So this is great, though. You're basically drawing a card for free on top of dealing 3 damage for 3 mana. Very, very good. The drawing a card in and of itself is worth the 1 to 2 mana. So you're getting 3 damage for 1 to 2 mana. Again, super excited to see how Rogue ends up panning out throughout the rest of the set, and to play Tempo and an OTK Rogue deck. And again, as a reminder, if you don't already know, the set does drop on December 10th. So we're getting into that 2-week range. So 2 more weeks until we can get our hands on these cards. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Peace out.